It starts right now.
Night 3 of protest in Charlotte, North Carolina after the shooting death of Keith Scott. And flooding concerns, as Anthony mentioned. We'll tell you where to pick up your sandbags coming up.
WHBF is local for you. This is Local 4 News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for watching Local 4 News this morning. I'm Emily Scarlett. Protesters in Charlotte continue their calls for justice, demanding to see video of the fatal police shooting of Keith Scott. Demonstrators clashed with police for a third night in a row before a mandatory midnight curfew took effect. Don Champion has the latest from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Police in riot gear moved in on demonstrators along Interstate 277 in Charlotte shortly before the mandatory curfew took effect. Protesters stood with their hands up. One man took a knee. As tensions escalated, officers used tear gas and pushed them off the highway.
When you're trying to stand up for a cause, man, you got to just go all in. You can't run and shriek in fear. Dr. King did it, man.
Y'all get down, brothers!
Some residents even stepped in to help maintain calm.
Full streets! Our streets!
Demonstrators circled downtown Charlotte for hours.
Lay down like you done been shot!
Others staged a die-in on the steps of the county courthouse with National Guardsmen feet away.
There was a lot more positive people out here. A lot more groups were involved tonight that wanted to make a statement peacefully.
The relatively peaceful tone of the evening here in uptown Charlotte followed 2 straight nights of violent protests in the wake of the death of Keith Scott. Hundreds of extra state patrol officers and National Guardsmen with their heavy equipment helped maintain order. Protesters are demanding officials release video of the deadly police encounter that claimed his life. Scott's relatives privately viewed dash and body camera video of his killing Thursday and say they could not tell whether he was holding a weapon as police claim. Their attorney had a message for demonstrators.
So we have to be mindful of the feelings of the loved ones of the people who have died before we rally to say, make the video public.
Authorities say they will not release the video because of the ongoing investigation. Don Champion, CBS News, Charlotte.
A police officer has been charged for her role in the deadly shooting of an unarmed black man in Tulsa. Officer Betty Shelby has been charged with manslaughter in the first degree. Shelby fatally shot 40-year-old Terrence Crutcher after his SUV broke down last week. Her attorney says Shelby fired because she was afraid Crutcher was reaching for a weapon. Multiple police cameras show Crutcher had his hands above his head before he was shot. No weapon was found. Back in the Quad Cities, Davenport City leaders are making plans for flooding along the Mississippi River. It's expected to reach 13 feet by Sunday and crest at 17 feet next Wednesday. Crews will put up street closures and high water signs along Concord Street later today. You'll be able to pick up sandbags at the wastewater treatment plant starting at noon. Events scheduled at LeClaire Park should not be affected. Illinois has more time to build the Amtrak line from the Quad Cities to Chicago. State Department of Transportation and Federal Rail Administration granted an extension. Illinois has $177 million from the federal government for that project. The money would have been pooled without the extension. Now the money has to be used by the end of September next year. Rock Island has a new interim city manager. Public Works Director Randy Tweet will take over the job for now. Mayor Dennis Pauley says City Council gave the go-ahead and Tweet took over Thursday. He replaces Thomas, who resigned earlier this week. Tweet started working for the city 16 years ago. He became the Public Works Director in 2013. The Mississippi Valley Regional Blood Center has put out the call for donors with one particular blood type. They say O-negative supplies are getting low, and that could cause issues at local hospitals. Demand for single donor platelets is also very high, but all donations are needed and welcome. Anyone who registers to give blood before September 30th will be entered into a drawing for a new Ford Fiesta. 2,400 volunteers took part in projects throughout the Quad Cities for the United Way's Community Day of Caring yesterday. That included work at Skip Along in Rock Island. More than 50 volunteers put up a trail designed to teach kids different shapes as well as the ABCs.
It's an educational activity for parents from Skip Along and the neighborhood to do with their children. and it's to show them parent involvement and education and fun.
Volunteers worked on more than 100 projects at places like the Riverbend Food Bank and the Quad Cities Botanical Center. Today, you can help give some Quad Cities families a fresh start and pick up some bargains in the process. Humility of Mary Housing is holding their annual sale. The Fresh Start benefit sale runs today and tomorrow at their donation center in Davenport. This is the 26th year for the sale, which offers a large selection of gently used and new items, including furniture, clothing, and collectibles. The sale runs from 8 this morning until 4, then again tomorrow from 9 a.m. until 3. And if you're more in the market for crafts and baked goods, the Moline Township Activity Center is holding a craft fair today. You can also get some homemade chili for lunch. The craft fair and bake sale runs from 9 this morning until 3 at the Activity Center. All money raised goes to support the center. Let's check in now with meteorologist Anthony Peoples and get some more information on the flooding you mentioned already this morning, Anthony. I know some people are waking up thinking, I know we haven't seen that much rain.
And you know, that's what's going to surprise people living along the Mississippi, because for much of this summer it was really dry here, even though we did have a wet August, and September has been pretty dry, but we've had more than a foot of rain to fall across parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin and northern Iowa, and all of that water enters the Mississippi River up there and has to go south.
And you've mentioned that this is a problem that we'll be watching over the next several days.
Yeah, you're going to notice rapid rises this weekend, but the flooding will likely occur early next week, Emily. Here's part of that heavy rain. This is the last 6 hours of satellite radar. We saw one round of heavy rain to move through our northwestern hometowns. That's what brought the showers and thunderstorms to the Quad Cities that we're hearing right now. But notice off to the west here, around Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, they're seeing heavy rain right now. In the past couple of hours, Cedar Rapids over 2.5 inches of rain. You can see very heavy rain pushing into Iowa City and Swisher back toward Williamsburg, and moderate rain around Cedar Rapids at this time. We do have a flash flood warning in effect until 10:30 for Lynn County and northern Johnson County, and Jackson County still under a flash flood watch until 10 o'clock. Now let's talk about the rises on the Mississippi. 7 to 14 inches of rain has fallen across Minnesota and Wisconsin and even northern Iowa over the past few days, and this will bring the water levels up rather quickly this weekend into early next week along the Mississippi. So if you live around Rock Island and down around Burlington, moderate flooding is expected by the early and middle part of next week, while minor flooding expected around Fulton, Comanche, and LeClaire. As kids head off to school early this morning, heavy rain, especially across our northern hometowns, that'll be moving out of here by this afternoon, and we'll see very warm conditions once again and a high near 86. Keep in mind the average high temperature is 74 this time of the year. So on this first full day of fall, we have summer thunderstorms, flash flooding on the Mississippi, and temperatures in the 80s.
What a surprise. And Anthony, you mentioned that the showers that we are seeing this morning may clear out by later today, but we won't be in the clear for the flooding concerns.
No, because the waters up north that are still seeing heavy rain will be heading our way, and we have another rain event coming in later in the weekend. But if you're heading out to the Pride Fest or other football games this evening or anything, the weather should be improving by this evening.
What a start to the fall season.
I'm going to take a breather here and let you talk
need
for
one.
a bit.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, we're giving away 2 free tickets to a Women in Blues tribute concert coming up next month here in the Quad Cities. But before that, we're all getting a treat with a performance live in the studio right after the break.
Got the soul upon a shelf. You know they can never love me when they can't even love themselves. Well, I need someone to love me.
WHBF is local for you with Emily Scarlett and meteorologist Anthony Peoples. This is Local 4 News this morning in high definition.